Yeah, so last year it was really hard. You couldn't even squint and see how Trevor Lawrence was going to make it,
No.
basically, in the NFL because every metric was awful, was as bad as you could imagine. It was the same way for Zach Wilson, whose name is temporarily escaped me. But this year, so through 3 weeks, Trevor Lawrence has the second highest completion rate over expected, trailing only Geno Smith, strangely enough. And he has the highest. Let's see, Trevor Lawrence had the highest success rate of any quarterback in week 3 against the Chargers. It seems to be coming together in a way that I think is sustainable for this Jags offense. And here's the thing: unlike Urban Meyer, who just insisted on establishing the run on the early downs, especially on 1st and 10, the Jags are actually, and they got away from this a little bit in week 3, I have to say, but they are making a concerted effort to pass more on 1st down, which gives you put your quarterback in a more favorable situation, right? Where the defense doesn't know that you're going to pass. This is the thing, teams put quarterbacks in terrible spots, especially young quarterbacks. They're not doing that. Doug Peterson's not doing that with Trevor Lawrence, and we thank him.
Yeah, it's been run focused, but it's also been EPA focused, like you said, where they're not just running more for the sake of it. They're trying to just run
Yes.
smart. And so they kind of got away from that on Sunday in week 3 because they don't seem like they're a confident enough team yet to just like be pedal to the metal. And like
Right.
they got a lead on the Chargers. They definitely kind of went to like salt the game away mode. Like
They
we're
did.
not going to blow this game mode. And they didn't.
And hey, you know what? That works. They were in a spot where I think they just wanted to get out of there with the win. You can't blame them too much. But talking about the target tree now, you have 3 guys running all the routes. Okay, so this is good for fantasy. This is at least somewhat predictable. I want to say highly predictable, but that's a little much. Somewhat predictable for fantasy because you have Zay Jones, Christian Kirk, and Marvin Jones running every single route. Okay, and so we know where the ball is going. It's primarily going to Christian Kirk and Zay Jones, honestly. And Zay Jones had a great game against the Chargers. I think 10 catches for 85 yards and a touchdown. I mean, I looked at the box score this morning and I said, "What? What is that?" And
Don't want to talk about it. Basically,
he will be featured in the waiver wire article on NBC Sports Edge tomorrow.
Oh my gosh!
Look, the coaches love him. Okay, if there was a metric for coach love, Zay Jones would be off the chart.
Yeah, he knocks it out of the park.
This offense is fun for fantasy. It's good for fantasy because we know where the ball's going, and Trevor Lawrence is delivering it in an efficient way.
And just the next 2 steps for Trevor Lawrence, maybe run a little bit more. Not that I think it was always kind of oversold. Like not that anyone really tried to sell him as a dual threat, but like, oh, here's a guy who'll run, and that was always a bit unrealistic. But
Yeah.
only 8 carries for 22 yards. He can definitely do better than that through 3 games. And so far, he only has 4 completions of 20 plus yards. They're not really cutting it loose down the field. I think they've only attempted 12 or 13, but those are like the 2 next areas for improvement. He's already got just in terms of like traditional efficiency, his completion percentage is up from 59.6% as a rookie to 69.3%. Like Urban Meyer just should be ashamed of himself and don't really know how he sleeps at night.
Well, yeah, it would have been, yeah. I mean, it would have been helpful for Urban Meyer to learn the names of players, to get on the plane after a game,
Yeah, would have been nice
to actually engage in the job, but he did not.
So Trevor Lawrence is an interesting guy, but he's not like a priority ad or anything this week. Romeo Doubs of the Green Bay Packers is looking like a priority ad, and the Packers have been talking about the need for someone to step up, and not so subtly hinting they really, really, really want it to be Romeo Doubs. That happened on Sunday. 8 catches, I believe 72 or 73 yards. I believe it was you, Denny, in our blurb who said he was a few shoestring tackles away from going well beyond 100 yards. And does this look maybe sustainable for Romeo Doubs? Christian Watson didn't play week 3. What is it? How much should we rushing out to spend on the waiver wire? What is kind of the short and long-term outlook for Romeo Doubs?
I think he showed that he is the best receiver that Aaron Rodgers has. He drew 8 targets on 34 routes, which is a nice, a solid percentage there. He was a mainstay in 2 receiver sets for the Packers. I think importantly, the Packers designed plays to get the ball to Doubs early in the game, including his short touchdown in the first quarter. They definitely stopped doing that at some point. I don't know if the Bucs made a defensive adjustment, but there was a concerted effort. And Aaron Rodgers said after the game, we had plays, we practiced plays in practice that were designed for Doubs. We wanted to get him involved early. He had 34 yards on 3 catches and a touchdown in the first drive of the game against Tampa. So I think it's all looking up for him as a potential wide receiver 1. I don't think anybody's going to run away with a 25% target share here in this offense, but he could easily be a high-end wide receiver 3, low-end 2 going forward if he's able to continue with his full complement of snaps and routes.
Top 36 does seem like a realistic season-long outcome for Romeo Doubs. Probably not like in the top 30. Probably won't really push for wide receiver 2, because I mean, it is going to remain a deep group. It is going to remain kind of a sprawling group. And like you said, they might have already adjusted on him yesterday. He's going to have to learn to adjust to the adjustments, but especially this week where it's not a loaded group at receiver. If you just need like immediate help at receiver right now, I mean, Denny, it's a group highlighted, at least in terms of players who are under 50% rostered. It's like Russell Gage, Michael Gallup, Treylon Burks, Devontae Parker, Isaiah McKenzie. It's not a difference-making group this week at receiver. And Romeo Doubs, I think you would call him the most compelling receiver ad of week 4, correct?
Yeah, I think so. I think people will look at Mac Hollins, and I get that because he had a big game. I mean, Mac Hollins had a 60-yard catch and a 48-yard catch, so it's hard to say, oh, take Doubs over the guy making long catches. I get that, but I don't think Hollins' role is as stable and has as much potential going forward as Hollins does in that Vegas offense.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and Rotoworld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, okay, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from Rotoworld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.